Until you know how the old version of you thinks, it's going to be a step ahead of you at each and every single turn. Now, what you have to understand, when you decided to embark on this journey to moving from your current reality to a desired reality, you've triggered something quite dangerous into existence, the old version of you. As you can see, why is one eye bigger than the other? I don't know, but let's just pretend he's Uncle Ruckus. Now, for those of you who don't know who Uncle Ruckus is, educate yourself. Now, as you can see, he's got handcuffs. Pause. Because he's handcuffed to his old frequency. And what this represents, really and truly, it is metaphorical and symbolical of you. Because whether you realize this or not, you have an old frequency and a new frequency. And these two polarities are going to clash at every single turn. Now, the process of you actually materializing your desired reality requires for you to disassociate from your current reality. Now, there's a couple of things you have to know. Your old frequency has a certain set of characteristics which make it very difficult for you to leave, which is why even though it feels like you're trying your absolute best, you just can't get away. It feels like you're being held, and every time you try to get away or get out, your handcuffs come into play. Now, until you understand what those characteristics are and why they're actually the way that they are, you will remain handcuffed to your present circumstance. So let's actually first explain how this old you is an actual entity that exists, because most people don't understand that you create entities. The first law of the Hermetic principles is the universe is entirely mental. Within the universe is encapsulated the spiritual plane. The creation of spiritual entities is entirely a mental process. And we're gonna go into some deep, deep esoteric concepts here. So relax, you're gonna get some. Just stay with me. Now, for a couple of songs, you know, of course, people are always commenting about anxiety and how to deal with anxiety, so on and so forth. And, you know, I've really helped a lot of people cure their anxiety almost instantly just by a simple thing. So, of course, you know, I got people to listen to Computers by Bobby Shmurda, healed their anxiety. Some guy said he ascended to the 5th dimension. Then also Arrogant by Lil J. Now, the last song that I'm going to have to get you to listen to is Daily Duppy Black Edition by Scraps. Scraps, Daily Duppy Edition. One of the best things you're ever going to hear. You'll be transformed instantly. Mark my words. Now, and it's funny that you guys comment whenever you listen to these songs, so make sure you do that. By the way, I didn't know when we decided that our name was going to be the Nero Nation. Guys, please, we are not a cult. I'm getting accusations that we are a cult. I'm seeing niggas saying that we're called Nero Nation. I don't even know when this happened. I've never given us that name. What do you think of the name, AJ? Do you like it?
Oh, I like it.
I don't know.
Double N?
Double N?
Yeah, Nero Nation.
I don't know. I don't know.
What do you think it should be?
I don't know. I don't know.
The Knowledge Clan.
The Knowledge Clan. I ain't gonna lie. Yo, I was about to say something else in the guess. Woo! Anyways. The process of how your old frequency becomes a literal entity. Now, here's what you have to understand. Now, you have to understand that entities, like I said, the first law of the universe is the universe is mental, and you have to understand the foundations of the universe. The foundations of the universe are the Hermetic principles. For the mere fact that the 7 laws, you are bound by the 7 Hermetic universal laws. This isn't about law of attraction. This isn't about law of assumption. They're conceptualizations and simplifications of the 7 Hermetic principles. I'm going to take you to the very first one because I'm not here to give you gimmicks like these other niggas. Listen, you can wear as much Shia butter as you want and eat as much CMOS as you want. Your life isn't going to change. You have to understand, not until you can rearrange the inner workings of your mind will your reality be rearranged, as within, as without, on earth as it is in heaven. You have to understand, before anything can exist physically, it must first exist vibrationally. So the process of rearranging your internal structures to rearrange your reality is primary. Stop getting caught up in the gimmicks of it all. And as I always say, spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity. So make sure you leave your notes in the comments as usual. Now, you have to understand, the first law of the universe, being the universe is mental, means that everything that is created is first a mental creation. Everything. As I said, before anything can exist physically, it first must exist vibrationally. Now, through what is considered thought forms, which the simplification of how I want you to conceptualize thought forms is a collection of thoughts. And as I said, this is deeply esoteric stuff. Collection of thoughts plus emotion. Now, you have to understand, there is an over-exaggeration on the power that your thoughts have in this reality creation space, because that's simply nothing more than people being entirely miseducated and just repeating shit they heard from other niggas on TikTok. Now, as you guys already know, throughout this journey, I've read nearly 400 books on the topic, 8 years studying. I'm hired by 7 to 8 figure entrepreneurs to really do this stuff. How's a nigga in a do-rag and a wife beater teaching 7-figure entrepreneurs about this stuff? I don't know, but it's happening. Now, regardless, I want you to conceptualize your thought forms as a collection of thoughts and emotion. Emotion is the most important part. Your emotion is the largest shareholder of your frequency. It is the priority of it. Largest shareholder of your frequency. It is not your thoughts. Your emotion is energy emotion, which emits an energetic signature, which eventually compounds into a frequency, which then materializes into a reality. Your emotion is of the utmost importance. It is the largest shareholder of your frequency. Understanding that thoughts have their vibrations altered by emotions to make them more powerful when it comes down to the materialization of your reality, which is the process of manifestation in of itself. But I want you always to remember my definition of manifestation, because it actually allows you to recenter and redirect your focus to where it should be, which is within. You have to understand manifestation is simply internally shifting to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. Emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. When you're good with it and you're good without it. That is when anything will ever manifest, for a whole bunch of reasons. Now, as I said, thought forms. What you have to understand is when thought forms are repeatedly consisted, they give birth to an entity. Now, because typically we think in a particular paradigm, the paradigm that we think in is consistently reflected with thought forms, and those thought forms create this paradigm, which then gives birth to this live entity known as the old version of you, the very self that you're trying to get away from at this moment in time. It is literally an entity that is created from your thought forms. And I want you to think about it like this. Let's say you take a stone. Let's say every time you have a thought, the same thought, you drop a stone. Imagine if you have that thought repeatedly over a couple of hours, over a couple of days, over a couple of weeks. Those mini stones will eventually become mountains. That is representative of the collective thought forms when they build up momentum and they are continuously repeated in the exact same direction an entity is formed. And this happens on a societal level. On a societal level, this is what in the esoteric or the occult they're called egregores. You'll mention the egregores, it means, in Greek, it means watchers. These are exactly referenced in the book of Enoch, which is taken out the Bible. Now, I highly recommend, if you're somebody who wants to get into the esoteric aspects of the Bible, you get the book of Enoch, you get the Nag Hammadi text, and you get the Apocrypha to really holistically tie everything in together. Because, for example, in Luke 17:21, where Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you, you can see the exact same thing said in the Gospel of Thomas. The kingdom of heaven is inside and outside of you. And these are things that you have to understand. Now, understanding how everything being primarily mental, the mental is the building blocks of the entirety of reality. You can think about it as the substance of reality. The way I like to conceptualize it is imagination. The world we live in is frozen imagination. Imagination is the substance of reality. Consciousness is the substance of reality. Now, over time, these entities form and give birth to a you. When you continuously think in the same way, you give birth to an entity now that only thinks directly proportionate to how you trained it to think. And I want you to think about it as a blind intelligence. On my knees, no diddy, blind intelligence. Now, it doesn't hate you. Now, I know every time that you try to take a step forward, it feels like you're taking a step backwards. I know that when you're trying to be better, why is it so difficult? It's because this thing is a blind intelligence. It doesn't hate you. It was created from the way that you thought, given from the energy from your emotions, and now it exists and it wants to continue existing, but it is solely dependent about keeping you within the same paradigm, which is why every time you take a step forward or you try to do better, shit goes left, nigga. And this is why. And I need you to understand that this is a real entity. You can think about it. What's that film, AJ? I think there was a film, a black horror film by Jordan Peele, I think. I think it was called Us.
Us.
Think about how those people had doppelgangers. They had doppelgangers that were the complete altered vibration of them. You have a doppelganger in the spiritual realm that exists based on the way you've been consistently thinking over these set amount of years, from the energy and the emotion that you've consistently repeated over time. So if you've been consistently in a point of struggle and worry and upset, and you're thinking within the confinements of scarcity, worry, and so on and so forth, you have now given birth to an entity that wants to continue living, and it will do so any cost, even if that cost is self-destructive to your own progression. I need you to understand this. This is serious stuff. Now,
That's a great example.
thank you. Thank you very much. What can I say? My brain's the best. Pause.
Gotta love that brain, eh?
God, I love that brain. Pause again. You do have a doppelganger that is built up from the frequency that you've been in over these years consistently. That frequency is given birth to an entity that exists and wants to continue existing at any cost, and it will do so. Nigga, don't stop, they keep going. Hey, you can live your life, but it gonna keep going. Why not risk life when it's gonna keep going? Yeah, when you die somebody else's boy, but at least you gotta say. You know, I used to thought he said horses don't stop, they keep going.
What does he say?
Hustlers.
Nah, he says horses.
He says hustlers.
Nah, he says horses.
He says hustlers.
I'll keep it as horses.
Hustlers don't stop, they keep going.
Everyone in school was saying horses.
Horses, innit? What did you guys think? Anyways. Now, like I told you, so how do I say this? Until you understand how the old version of you thinks, how that old frequency thinks, it will outsmart you every time. It will outsmart you every time at any cost. How does this happen? When you feel like at the exact moment when anything could have gone worse or anything could have been more triggering, it happens almost at a coincidental moment. Whenever you catch yourself saying, why me? Whenever you catch yourself saying, for fuck's sake, it always feels like it's a step ahead of you. And it's because you don't know how it thinks. And think about it like a chess game. This is a game of metaphysical chess. And until you can beat yourself, you will not beat yourself into a submission to a point where you can actually detach from your old reality and step into your new one. How the hell are you going to materialize your desired reality if you are a step behind at the old frequency every single time? This is a war against yourself. But I don't conceptualize it like that because it almost makes it seem like there's conflict. But the truth of the matter is, it is a game of chess, and you need to know how it thinks so that when certain things pop up in your reality, you have the ability to outsmart it, because to the degree you can outsmart your old frequency will determine the ease of access that you enter your desired reality. Now, let's actually go through these characteristics one by one. One by one. One of them? Who of them? We need to go to Jamaica, man. We need to go to Jamaica. Somebody asked me, you know, how have you grown so quick on YouTube? I said, quick? I've been living at a different frequency. Remember, before anything can exist physically, it first must exist vibrationally. I was at 100K before you niggas caught up to that. And now we're at 500K and they still ain't caught up to that. But eventually when it materializes and they see it, to them it will be real. But remember, the definition of manifestation is shifting internally to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. I feel amazing. And that's exactly why it's gonna come. Pause again.
Big pause on that.
Big pause on that.
500K is a big load, man.
500. That's crazy. Okay, so the first characteristic of how your old self thinks, it is needy. In fact, I don't mean to disrespect you, but it's an attention whore. Your old self is absolutely needy and it will do its utmost to get your attention. I repeat, it will do the most to get your attention. When you feel like something is trying to call you back into your old frequency, that is representative of a game that it plays, which is attention whore. It's trying to get your attention because it knows that attention, as it said, where attention goes, energy flows. Where attention goes, energy flows. Even more important, attention, what it really and truly is a centralization of your energy. Centralization is powerful enough to start a fire. Take sunlight in through a highly concentrated magnifying glass, and that has the potentiality to create a fire. That's a very micro example of something that happens on a multi-dimensional metaphysical level. And you have to understand, it will try to get your attention because it knows where attention goes, energy flows. That concentration of energy is going to lead to you going back to your old frequency. This isn't OnlyFans for you horny niggas. It is your old frequency. Now, you have to understand, part of it being an attention whore is going to do something that forces you to give it your attention. Now, this is very, very important. You need to begin to see your attention as an investment. The things that you're allowing to gain your attention, you're investing into. The issue is you've been spending, and to spend is to lay without even thinking about a potential return. You need to invest your energy, your attention, into things that reflect and bring the ROI of your DR, not Dominican Republic, for you horny niggas, for your desired reality. Your attention has to be something that you invest. So when it pops off to do something, to try get your attention, you need to be able to air it. Now, I know a lot of you guys are American. When we say air over here, it's like, what's that like? Ignore.
Yeah, ignore.
You gotta ignore it. You gotta air it. You understand? You get me? Now, what's typically going to happen when it attempts to get your attention is that it wants to frustrate you. It wants to make you feel like you can't get away, because that frustration acts as a particular glue to your old frequency. Frustration is a form of glue back to your old frequency. And you get trapped up in the loop. So every time some nonsense happens and you're like, oh, I gotta focus on this, or this is popping up trying to get my attention. At that particular moment in time, that should be an indication to you, an alarm bell of your old frequency saying, hey, that's what it's trying to do. And I need you to be aware of this, because the first step to any form of transformation or transmutation is a level of awareness. And I need to make you aware of what it's going to do. Now, you're probably having a light bulb moment right now, and you're probably going to have a whole lot more throughout the entirety of this video. So it's important that you know the exact war plan on how this thing thinks. So stay with me now. You're gonna get some, you're gonna get some. Now, like I said, attention whore. You need to make sure that you are investing your attention and seeing your attention as a currency, as an investment. And if it doesn't take you to your desired reality or new frequency, then don't allow it to get more attention than it needs, because the more attention you give it, the more energy you give it. That energy carries a vibration, which then compounds into a frequency, which then compounds into a reality. That centralization of energy, really and truly, in combination with frustration, is glued to your old frequency, and you'll be trapped in a loop where you feel like you just can't get away from it. You just can't get away from it. You have to be aware of these things. Hey, sweetness, come over here, wind up your waist and bring it all back. Back it up, just back it up. Don't worry, I won't tell your man. Nah, that song had the UK on ropes, bro. Do you know what song that is?
No.
Mad About Bars, AM Skeng though?
No, I've heard it.
You've heard it?
Heard it. That's
Bally on when I step right, left, right.
Left.
Why are you giving it that attention?
Left is brethren for dead. Again.
You lot see what I deal with here. Now, sorry for my fellow Americans, because what he's just done is sacrilege. You guys are probably going to be like, what's this guy talking about? I don't even know. Imagine a legendary tune Legendary. Just disregarded like scraps.
If you're from the US, just type in Dave. You're welcome. Type in Dave UK rapper.
I don't think you need to type UK rapper at the end of it.
I don't know what Dave would pop up, and there's bare Daves.
Now, the second way that it thinks, I'm sorry to say this, because remember, this is all about you. I'm never going to externalize anything into anybody other than you, because anytime that anybody gets you to externalize anything, whether it's your responsibility, your divinity, your power, they're just trying to con you. Like, believe me, I'd love to have a call with you guys and have you guys do whatever I want you to do. Pause. But that's not what I'm here for, and that's not what I want to do. I want you guys to understand that you need to redirect all that energy that you've been giving to everything outside of you back to you. Now, it is sadistic. Quite a intense word. You have to understand that your old frequency thrives off your negativity. That's a bar, write that down. Now, unless you are lucky to never grow up in a particular circumstance of negativity, most of us grow up in circumstances of negativity, whether that's poverty, whether that's violence or whatever. And it's funny because somebody was like, oh, Nero, I know you went to private school. If you want to look at the place that I grew up, type in Wolverhampton, Scotland's a state. Check that out and then you'll see what I'll go on about me. But anyways, your old frequency thrives off your negativity. And what you have to understand about that is that it's sadistic in a sense that because it thrives off your negativity, it will create circumstances in your reality to enhance your negativity. I know. It's like, why the fuck would you want to do that to me? Why would you want to do that to me? And it's because it is a blind intelligence. It's nothing personal against you. And I need you to kind of sever that frustration that you have of, why is it trying to do this to me? It just doesn't want to leave. It just doesn't want to die. And I'm sure you don't either. So it will create circumstances to enhance negativity. It's almost like it wants to torture you because it knows that when you begin to feel those negative emotions is nothing more than a reflection of things that you've been feeling for the past couple of years. It is the frequency of your past years. Nothing more, nothing less. That's what it is really and truly. And because of that, it will do its absolute best to create circumstances in your reality that magnify and enhance, sorry. I jammed. That was a complete jam. That was crazy. Circumstances that enhance your negativity. It will literally be like, it will be stacking things on top of you to consistently trigger you. It wants to make you burst, pause. But when I say burst, I mean emotionally. What it's trying to do is get an emotional reaction out of you because as you should understand by now, your emotions are a form of glue to your old frequency. If it can get an emotion out of you, you're done. It will have you marked. So if you go through a particular circumstance where you end up experiencing a form of negativity or you end up becoming frustrated, depleted, annoyed, sad, it will have you marked and it'll be like, yeah, I know how to get him. I know how to get her. I know exactly what to do. And then just as you're about to progress, what will it do? Create a particular circumstance that reflects that level of frustration to give you that emotional reaction so it can glue you where? Back to your old frequency. This is the game. This is the game. I need you to understand this. This is very, very serious stuff because what you have to understand is mastering yourself is a prerequisite to mastering reality. Until you can recreate yourself, you cannot recreate your reality. And part of that recreation is a process of self-alchemization, self-purification, through self-understanding and exploration. I mean, people always say, fight your demons. I never want you to fight your demons. I want you to talk to your demons because it's not until that you can give those demons a high level of consciousness through the awareness of how they've began to get to where they are. You will always be stuck in that particular frequency. Now, like I said, it is sadistic. It will do its absolute best to piss you off. It wants to make you absolutely upset, which isn't lovely at all, is it? It's not really polite, but blind intelligence. So when these things pop up, you have to understand that these are nothing more than attempts at it trying to get an emotional reaction out of you. That should place you on a completely different frequency anyways. When something pops up that seems like it couldn't be at the more precise time to get you, it couldn't be the exact thing to get you, I need you to recognize that for what it is. It's an attempt at the old frequency sadistic nature in order to create a bunch of negative emotions, because those negative emotions emit a negative frequency. That negative frequency acts as a glue to your old reality, perpetuating you and keeping you locked in those particular handcuffs. And I need you to understand this. Everything that I give you guys to do is a form of mental action. I need you guys to get out the habit to what the manifestation industry has done to you niggas. It's trying to get you niggas to go journal. I'm not going to tell you to journal. I'm not going to tell you to go create a vision board. I'm not going to tell you to write down some affirmations. What I'm giving you is a mental form of action. These are things that you do internally. So as these things are popping up, such as the sadistic nature in that particular sense, you have to have the awareness that this is an attempt at you trying to get your emotions and maintain a form of emotional resilience. This is a mental thing, because the more you can begin to rearrange the within, the without will easily be arranged. Stop being so caught up on physical action. Physical action pertains to the third dimensional realm or the physical plane, which is the realm of effect, and you cannot change an effect by changing an effect. That's nigger maths. That doesn't make any sense at all. You need to alter the cause to alter the effect, and the cause is always within. So don't ask me, what do I need to do? Go watch my videos, because I give you very clear mental instructions on what to do, and I promise you, if you do them, things will change. And I know this because I'm paid quite well by 7 to 8 figure entrepreneurs for this reason, but I'm giving it to you niggas for free. Pause, because I want this to hit you guys hard. Pause again. Now, and guys, please stop sending me messages asking to be my editor. You can't replace Metro. You can't.
Tell them.
You can't. I'm sorry. Like, we're like Gun and Killua. You don't know who they are, do you? We're like Eren Yeager and Zeke Yeager. You don't know who they are, do you? We're like Edward and Alphonse. You don't know who they were. See what I'm dealing with?
Maybe I'm Batman, you're Robin.
Ha! Ha! You're Batman, I'm Robin. Say less. Say less. Say less. Here, my man, he didn't even like Batman.
Ooh, like Batman. Fuck Batman.
You wanna fuck Batman?
Whoa.
Now, next characteristic. Your old frequency is reactive. Now you have to understand that most of the world live in a particular form of reactive consciousness. What do I mean? They allow their eyes to alter their mind. This is how most of the world's population act. As I say, they live by eyesight and not what they really should be living by, which is eyesight. Well, mind sight, sorry. They live by eyesight when they should really be living by mind sight. Mind sight is your ability to see reality from a high frequency, which is simply beyond the illusions that exist, such as space, time, polarity, so on and so forth, and how time within the third dimensional realm operates differently to the fourth dimensional outside this constraint. Now, because most of the world can simply see something and be triggered, your old self knows that because you were, I guess, cultivated within this third dimensional realm, your ego has this tendency to react immediately to when something happens. And because it knows you've grown up in a particular state of consciousness where you're reactive, especially if you're from the ghetto, like some of us, like people just react left, right, and center over nothing. You step on a nigga's shoes, it's game over. And it's funny because Americans think that for whatever reason, the UK, England, because we speak a particular way, we don't have ghettos or hoods, but I can assure you, the collective black experience is really nothing more than a form of egregore collective consciousness. Our experience is all the same, believe me when I tell you, such as eating hot dogs with loaves of bread instead of actual hot dog buns. Like, you know what I'm saying? Pause on that. But anyways, reactive. It knows that typically there's an aspect of you that is quite reactive. It knows if it can throw you adversity, if it can press your buttons in a sense, yes, that's better. If it can press your buttons, you will react. And because of that, through that reaction is what? Emotion. And that emotion acts as what? You should say it, glue. Glue to what? Your old frequency. There you go, you're getting it. There you go, you're getting it. It's very important to understand that there's an aspect of you that has to be able to be non-reactive, because once you're non-reactive, that's a representation of you being on a particular frequency, of being beyond the constraint of the illusions of our reality, and you're no longer living by eyesight and you're actually living by mind sight. It knows you're reactive. It knows if it creates this scenario where your partner pisses you off, or you get a bill about a bill, an expensive bill, it knows that you're going to, and because it knows how to press your buttons, it's got you marked. And any time that it's feeling a bit like you haven't been giving it some attention, it will just press your buttons. You need to gain a certain level of mental and emotional resilience and discipline, because why should reality submit to you when you can't even submit to yourself? That's a bar, write that down. Why should reality allow you to control it when you can't even control yourself? That's another bar, write that down. Why should reality listen to you when you can't even listen to yourself? That's a triple bar. It's very important for you guys to understand that this reactive aspect of you, typically, if you grew up in a particular form of survival state of consciousness, this is what it's going to be, because an animal is reactive. For example, this is a lion. Now, let's say a lion sees a deer. Let's say a lion sees a deer. That deer will be reactive in seeing the lion and immediately move off impulse. That instant reaction, because the reaction is instant, the potentiality for a higher level order of thinking, higher level thinking is shut down. Which means, pause. Which means you're going to have the potentiality to exercise patience. When something pops up in your reality, I'm going to need you to give yourself some time before you actually make any form of mental investment, any form of emotional investment. And this is something that's going to be built with discipline and some muscle you're training. I need you to stop thinking you need to be perfect. The idea that you need to be this fucking wizard and sage nigga that can levitate, and you seen that video of them niggas where they're like doing telekinesis. You never seen it? Bro, these niggas are hilarious. They'll have something on their table, like foil, and they'll be like,
That must be true. Where is it?
And it will move. You never seen it? Guys, you guys need to go watch these telekinesis videos.
And there's a magnet under the table or something.
I don't know what it is. But them niggas of course, it's probably more than likely nonsense, or it's just wind. I don't know. But they're like, and it's moving.
Yeah, some church video that sounds like.
Nah, these are spiritual niggas. These are the people that are in our space, AJ. Our peers. Nice to see you, because I know you're watching. But anyways, like I said, you're going to have the potentiality to exercise some type of emotional, mental patience, because just like a lion, when a deer spots its predator, higher level thinking is shut down and it immediately reacts. And when high level thinking is shut down, that means you're trapped within operating out of a particular paradigm, which is at a lower level of consciousness. And anytime you're at a lower level of consciousness, your old frequency stands over you, because it can see you clearly every single time, which is why I need you to be able to understand everything that I'm saying here. Now, Oh,
What was that?
my board is too wet. Pause. 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 Pause.
Wipe it down, right?
You know, like that. By the way, guys, I'm hypnotizing all of you. It's not a joke. How? You have to understand, one thing that I realize is that most of the time whenever we're watching YouTube, we're in a particular form of relaxation, right, AJ? You're just relaxed watching YouTube, typically. When you're in a particular form of relaxation, your brain actually enters what's considered theta waves. It produces a particular brainwave state called theta, which is 4 to 8 hertz. 4 to 8 hertz is when your brainwaves moves much slower. And because they move much more slower, it's easier for ideas to latch on and enter your subconscious because theta is a prerequisite to your subconscious mind. So when you're relaxed watching me and you're listening to my voice and you're taking in the information that I'm taking, it's a form of hypnosis. But of course, I'm just giving you this example so you can extrapolate it on a wider scale. This is with music, this is with movies, this is with TV shows, this is with other YouTubers. So be very aware. I'm not saying you shouldn't be relaxed while watching me. I mean, shit, if you're gonna give it to me, I'll take it, pause. But, you know, I'm honored, you know what I'm saying? If you're gonna give it to me, I'm honored, you know what I'm saying? But just to be something to be aware of. That's crazy though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's insane. Bro openly said that he's hypnotizing people.
Listen, it's not intentional. It's just happening. It's just happening. Some guy commented, "Why don't you wear any other clothes? Why are you concerned with why are you concerned with what another nigga's wearing?" I don't know. You should ask yourself that, mate. And I don't know why you're complaining. My style is always different in every video. Like, I'm always mixing and matching colors, always trying different aesthetics. I'm always doing different things. I don't know. Now, the final characteristic of your old frequency, and it's almost foundational to everything, so please listen to this. It's scared. Why wouldn't it be? You want to leave it. Someone commented, you know, I'm 71 years young and this is the best channel I've come across. Thank you so much, Elder. It's truly a pleasure and it's an honor. This goes for anybody who's older than me watching. To be honest, it goes for all of you. Thank you all. Not that I asked, but thank you very much. It's a pleasure and it's an honor for you guys to trust me to, you know, get you to where you need to be. I mean, as I say, spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity. And I truly do think, what's the point of, it's not, being alive isn't the same as living. You're not living until you're in control, and you're not in control until you can rearrange yourself and control yourself internally, which is a spiritual science, which is exactly what I've spent 8 years studying. Now, like I said, the final characteristic of your old self, the old version of you, is that it's scared. And it's scared because you want to leave it. You have to understand, this entity it's the creation of you. It is X amount of years old. It's had so much energy. It's had so much mental energy and emotional energy from you. It's almost been someone that's been there with you throughout every single highs and lows. At your lowest points, it was there, once again, feeding off your energy. At your highest points, it was also feeding off your energy. But lowest and highest in the particular paradigm of it, of course. And you want to leave it. You want to enter a new reality, which means that it is not going to exist anymore. It's just not going to be around. And you have to understand, it does something very, very sneaky. It does something very, very sneaky. And I need you to pay attention to this because I see this pattern within clients. I see this pattern within friends and even myself. I struggle with some of this stuff too. Like, don't think I'm some guy who's levitating and walking through walls. I go through regular stuff just like you. Now, it plays a trick on you. The trick is this, and please write this down, please. The trick that your old frequency will play on you is to project its fear onto you, so you get scared of moving forward. Because due to the magic M of the universe, remember the magic M of the universe? Once you begin to feel scared, so here's what it does. When it can feel you pulling away and actually getting closer to your desired reality, it begins to get scared because it's like, oh shit, I'm gonna lose him, I'm gonna lose her. So then it's like, let me take my fear and give it to him or her. So then they begin to feel fear. And then they associate that fear with taking a step forward. And because now you're afraid to take a step forward, you end up not taking a step at all. But then due to how the universe works, due to you being a microcosm of the universe, and due to the magic M of the universe, that fear that you have gets magnified. And how does it get magnified? It gets magnified through creating circumstances that maintain, perpetuate, and give you something to be scared about. Very, very dangerous trick. This is why you see all the time when people have been in toxic relationships or unfunctional relationships and they've come across someone good, the old frequency that has been created over years of toxic partners and being treated badly is now alive, it exists, so now it wants to continue giving you bad partners because it wants to stay around. But now when it can feel you getting into a functional relationship, it begins to get scared, so it projects that fear onto you. Then that fear gets magnified through you probably self-sabotaging yourself, through picking arguments and all these silly things. And you can see somebody who's in a relationship that should be perfectly fine, all of a sudden doing the absolute most. I see this with clients just before they're about to go to the next level, they end up taking a big loss or going through some form of adversity because their old frequency is scared, projects that fear onto them. That fear gets magnified and compounded into reality that materializes as a circumstance that gives them something to be afraid about, which then, because remember, fear is a powerful attractor field for what you don't want to come find you, a beacon of light. So then they get scared and they're like, oh, I might as well stay here. And this happens more often than you think. Extrapolate this to any aspect of your life. Think about any time you're about to move to a new level. You're scared. Why? Not because you're scared, because the old frequency is scared. And it projects that fear onto you. So you internalize that fear as associating that step forward, that new reality with fear. So then you don't take a step. But then when you do take an attempt to take a step, by then you have already internalized the frequency of fear. And because you've internalized the frequency of fear, you then materialize a circumstance or a condition of reality that perpetuates something for you to be afraid of. And this is simple. Anytime that you get scared in your progression, understand what it is. You're like, ah, that's not me. That's you. It's not me, it's you. And once you do that, you completely flip the game. And you transmute the game entirely, because now it's like, the hell? And because of that, the balance, the scales completely change. The tables turn. And you're no longer the one who's feeling fear, because you know that fear isn't yours. It's the old frequency projecting it onto you. It's very, very tricky, innit? It's very, very tricky. It's like what Sun Tzu said. He says, if you know yourself and the enemy, you don't need to fear the result of 100 battles. And he says something else to the effect of, if you know yourself but not the enemy, with every win you will take a loss or something like that. It's a great quote. I'll get AJ to put it up. Extremely metaphysical. With that being said, now you know how your old version of you thinks. So when these things pop up, you best come back to this video. Make sure you understand the game of what's really going on. It's a mental game.